Richard, how are you? And hello Tommy. I welcome you to my first entry to the Pwnage Olympics. Yes. My video response is going to be a response to the video called Rice Krispies for Atheists and Unbelievers. Yes, there's a recipe in this video. That's probably the only really good part of this video. And the user is called Christina Loves Jesus. Yes, it is promising. And the reason why I chose to respond to her instead of, let's say, Pwnage, because she says the same things as Pwnage, is because she's cute. And otherwise, the content of her videos is the same as you would see in Pwnage's videos. And I'm going to address a few points that she makes. The usual ones that you hear from Christians, or from fundamental Christians, that we're all sinful by nature because Eve ate from the forbidden fruit, and the only way to be saved is to accept Jesus, because man cannot be good. Only God is good. And God is an all-loving being, or the Christian Judeo God that she believes in is an all-loving being. So my arguments are going to be inspired by a thought experiment that probably most of you know, Schrödinger's cat. So you have a box where you put in a cat and a device which at a certain probability will release poisonous gas at some point, and then you close the box, and as long as you don't open the box, you just have to assume the cat is dead and alive at the same time. With a certain probability it's dead, with a certain it's alive, but you just don't know. You have to assume it's both at the same time, as long as the lid is closed. And this kind of made me think about the original sin in another way. I mean, God created the Garden of Eden. He put in Adam and Eve, which have free will, but the lack of the knowledge of good and evil. So they can make all the decisions they like, but they don't have any basis to decide if this is a good decision or a bad decision. So they just do things randomly, you could say, without any basis. And in this Garden of Eden is the tree of life, or of knowledge, or whatever it is, with the fruit that gives you the ability to know right from wrong. And at one point he just decides to disappear from the Garden of Eden. He just closes the lid on the box. And of course, if Adam and Eve didn't have the knowledge of good and evil, it's clear that they're going to mess up at some point. And they did, of course. And that's when God became present again, which is strange, because I thought God is omnipresent, but apparently he had to, I don't know, go to the bathroom. Since this is an intellectual video, I will refrain from blasphemy. Probably Richard would have another proposition of what God was doing at that moment, but I'll leave it to Richard to say this. So now he's back, and of course they're caught in the act, and he throws them out of the Garden of Eden. So God is supposed to be all-loving and omnipresent, and here he shows to be not omnipresent. First of all, he wasn't there, and he seems like a bad parent. I mean, would you leave your child with a loaded gun in his hand? You would tell him, don't point it to your head and pull the trigger, but you wouldn't explain to the kid why he shouldn't do this. You just would say, just don't do it, and leave him alone like that with a loaded gun. And you would call that a loving parent or a responsible parent? I don't think so. So basically, if he's all-knowing and if he's omnipresent, how can this happen? There's just no point to it, is there? The only point to this story is to put a chain on your neck and make you be in debt from the start of your life. They tell you you're already sinful because of that. That's the only reason this story is there. That's the only reason why creationists want to have this literal interpretation of Genesis, because without this initial debt that we all supposedly have, it's, well, religion becomes kind of, or the Christian Judeo religion in their eyes becomes kind of pointless. Well, so now we have seen that something is terribly wrong with the belief that the fundamental Christians have about the sinful nature of human being and how God is supposedly all-loving. And the second thing I'd like to argue is that is it really true that human beings couldn't be sinless by the standards of the Old Testament? Is this really true, or is it just another delusion that you need to accept Jesus Christ to be a good person? Well, here's another thought experiment that came to me recently. Let's say we take a newborn baby and we raise it in a closed environment, away from society, away from any other human being. We just give it food. There's maybe going to be one person that will have contact with this child. This person will be probably disguised in a way that you wouldn't even be able to tell what sex this person is. And it's going to be taught the Ten Commandments, and that there's an all-loving God, and that it's going to be rewarded if it lives a sinless life. And it's going to be treated with chemicals to make sure that the sex drive won't be a problem at some point. And maybe chemical castration, something like that. And since it will be living outside of society and with no contact at all, practically no contact with other human beings, there's not going to be any possibility to lie, there's going to be no possibility to steal or to desire another woman or another man or whatever. It's just there won't be any possibility for this person to sin. So we created a human being. We humans create a human being which is sinless. So if this is possible, this already refutes the whole New Testament, the whole idea of the New Testament. So basically, this is just the New Testament is just another delusion. It's just another chain. You have to accept Jesus Christ. Your life has to be led by Jesus Christ, someone who died 2,000 years ago. We don't know for sure if it ever lived, and that's just another way to make you another slave of something. And basically, even if it makes you happy, but you're not really free, are you? And this child who would be sinless, it's just basically what happens probably in these very fundamentalist households. These kids are secluded from the normal society, and they're just brainwashed into this belief. So even if this thought experiment that I just told you about seems cruel, I think that's what happens in real life in a lot of places. So yeah, I really hope that I'm going to be able to enjoy her Rice Krispie recipe, and I hope that one day she might wake up from her delusions and see that there's a point to life even if there is no God.